Good day, everyone. I am Ryan Zidungka from Group 2, and today I'll be discussing an important topic under the relationship between teaching philosophy and learning styles, behavioral trends in learning. We all know that education is constantly evolving, and as teachers, we need to understand how student behavior, motivation, and learning preferences change over time. And napakarami pong mga factors ang nag-i-influence sa mga changes po na ito. We have the social factors. We have the technological advancement and new educational approaches. That is why it is very essential to analyze kung paano po bang itong mga trends na ito ay nag impact, how these trends impact student engagement, also the learning outcomes and teaching methods. In my discussion po, I will focus on three key areas: the changes in student motivation and behavior, the effects of technology in learning, and how teachers adjust to new trends. So by understanding these behavioral trends, we can enhance our teaching practices and we can ensure that we cater to different learning styles effectively. Also expect po, since I am an ALS teacher, I will relate my discussion a bit to ALS because this is especially relevant in alternative learning system where learners come from diverse backgrounds with unique challenges. Karamihan po kasi meron po silang, they have different motivations for returning to education. At yung kanila pong learning styles, it vary widely. So by keeping up with modern teaching trends and integrating technology, we as teachers can also create an engaging, flexible, and inclusive learning experiences that empower our learners to reach their full potential. Especially po kaming mga teachers na hindi naman po school-based, katulad ko out of school, where teaching is very challenging. Bakit po? Kasi we don't have TV, we don't have blackboard, and conducive classroom. Now let's begin with the first point. Changes in student motivation and behavior. And po, so napaka-importante po malaman po natin ito. So over time po kasi, student motivation and behavior in learning have significantly changed due to factors katulad po ng technology, sabi ko nga po kanina, social influences, and modern teaching approaches. Ano po? And one of the most important shifts is in how students are motivated to learn, moving from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic motivation. So ano po ngayon siya? Extrinsic motivation versus intrinsic motivation. No? Sabi po shift from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation. So before, students were motivated by grades or rewards. Yun po yung extrinsic motivation. But today, sabi po nila, teachers emphasize intrinsic motivation. So, ini-encourage po yung mga estudyante to learn because they find it meaningful. Now, to elaborate what is extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, let us define first. Ano po ba ang extrinsic motivation? So sabi po, sa ating pong slide, this is when students are motivated by external rewards or consequences. Po, from the word X, ibig sabihin po external. No? External rewards or consequences. Ibig sabihin po, they study hard because they want good grades. Gusto po nila ng mataas na grade. Ano pa po? They want praises also. Pinupuri po sila dahil nga mataas yung kanilang grade and nag-excel po sila. They also want certificates or even to avoid punishment. So, napakarami pong factors. Ano po, na nagmo-motivate po sa kanila. Good grades, place, certificates, or worse po is to avoid punishment. Takot po sila na maparusahan. For example po, yung isa pong estudyante ay tatapusin niya yung kanyang homework dahil lang sa gusto niyang magkaroon ng reward po ng extra points kasi nga po recorded or because they fear getting a failing grade. So that is extrinsic motivation. While intrinsic motivation naman po, this is when students are motivated by their own interest, curiosity, or passion for learning. Ano po? So, dito po, they study or they engage in learning because they find it enjoyable. They find it meaningful or personally rewarding. Isa pong halimbawa po nito is, for example, a child is learning to solve math problems because they love challenges. Gusto po nilang nagsosolve. O for example po, isang estudyante is reading a book because they genuinely enjoy the story. Ano po? Yun po yung ibig sabihin ng intrinsic motivation. So napakalaki po yung difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. So yung binabagit ko po kanina in extrinsic motivation, yung word na fear, no? That fear aspect po, no? Baka po kasi mapagkamala ng iba, it usually comes from external pressures, no? Or consequences, no? Rather than genuine interest in learning. No? And kung tatanungin po natin, hindi extrinsic motivation lang ba ang nag-exist noon pa and wala bang intrinsic motivation? Hindi po. Po, intrinsic motivation has always existed. Ano? Kaso lang po, in traditional education, extrinsic motivation was more dominant. Ano po? Kasi po, before, yung system po natin was mainly focused on grades. Focus po siya sa grades, rewards, punishments, and competition. Kaya po ngayon, it makes the student learn more out of obligation or fear rather than curiosity or passion. However po, intrinsic motivation, sabi ko nga po kanina, has always been present. Ano po? Especially doon po sa mga estudyante who naturally love learning, exploring, and solving problems. Ang pagkakaiba nga lang po today is that modern education puts more emphasis on fostering intrinsic motivation. Ano po? Kasi ngayon po, intrinsic motivation na po talaga tayo. So, intrinsic motivation is more dominant now. Ano po? Because it makes learning meaningful, uh, uh, kasi kinoconnect nga po yung lessons to real life applications para makita po ng mga estudyante yung kanilang value. And intrinsic motivation also encourage curiosity. Ano po, dati po kasi hindi tayo nakakapagtanong sa ating mga teachers para bang takot tayo magtanong. Ngayon po, we let our students ask questions. We let our students explore and experiment rather than just memorizing. And syempre po, ngayon po, ay yung intrinsic motivation po, nakafocus po siya sa personal growth. No? Instead of just rewarding high grades, pinipraise din po natin yung ating mga estudyante sa kanilang effort. No po, sa kanilang creativity and problem-solving skills. So, while intrinsic motivation existed before, ano po, sabi ko nga po kanina, it was often overshadowed by strict rules, grades, and punishments. Po, ngayon po, yung mga teachers, tayo po, we are now actively promoting it, the intrinsic motivation, because it leads to deeper learning and long-term success. Po, ayan po. So, ito po mga time na ito sa ating pong slide. Ito po yung traditional education system. Ito po, traditional educational system that heavily rely on extrinsic motivation. Nga po yung mga grades, rewards, and punishment na naging dominant po for centuries. At kung mapapansin naman po natin, kung titingnan po natin, there is a noticeable shift toward intrinsic motivation started in the late 20th century, particularly banda pong 1980s and 1990s. So, yan po yung tinatawag nating rough timeline. Yan. So, kung mapapansin po ninyo, before, sa 1900s, dyan po yung industrial modern of education na kung saan po yung mga schools ay nakafocus sa discipline. Ano po, kaya takot na, noon po, takot talaga ang estudyante sa teacher. Kasi po, focus po talaga ang mga teachers sa discipline. Bukod po doon, focus din po sa memorization and obedience. Po? Yan. So, yung learning po, sabi po doon sa nabasa ko, learning was mainly rote memorization with strict rules and punishment. Yun po. And also, yung pong grade and ranks were the primary motivators. Wala na pong iba. Grade and ranks po yung kanilang primary motivators. Sa 1900s naman po to 1960s, dyan na po pumasok yung traditional behaviorist approach. Yan. Pagdating po sa behaviorist approach, kilalang kilala po natin dyan si D.F. Skinner tsaka si Pavlov na talagang pinag-aaralan po natin mula college hanggang sa tayo po ay mag-review sa ating LET. Tungkol dyan na po sumikat sina Skinner and Pavlov. Sila po yung nag-influence ng behaviorism where rewards and punishment shape learning behavior. So dito po sa time na to, sa 1900s to 1960s, yung po mga teachers, they had full control. And uh, students followed instructions without questioning. Kaya sabi ko nga po kanina, noon takot magtanong ang bata. Kapag they just follow the instructions, di po sila nagtatanong. Hindi po katulad ngayon, pag nagpagawa po ng activity si teacher or nagpagawa po ng assignments, napakadaming question. Minsan may mga reklamo pa po. Noon, wala pong ganun. Nako, kasi takot nga po ang estudyante sa mga teachers. And also, sa panahon po nito, learning was not yet personalized. Ito po, ibig sabihin po ng not yet personalized, ibig sabihin po, everyone followed the same curriculum. Hindi po katulad ngayon. The next po is 1970s to 1990s. Ito po, so shift towards student-centered learning. So medyo nag-shift na po sa intrinsic dito. So kung dun po sa behaviorist approach, sumikat po si Skinner, tsaka po si Pavlov. Dito naman po sa 1970s to 1990s, dito na po sumikat si Jean Piaget, tsaka po si Vygotsky. Lev, Lev, Lev Vygotsky. Po si Jean Piaget po, kilala po sa kanyang constructivism approach. Yan si Vygotsky naman po sa kanyang social learning approach. Yan, so sila po yung nag-influence dyan. And also, yung mga schools po, they started recognizing that students learn differently. Kaya po, naging focus na po dyan yung intrinsic motivation. So, dyan po, sa panahon na yan, students now were encouraged to ask questions, collaborate, and explore. And lastly po, sa 2000 to present, personalized and technology integrated learning. So yan po, the rise of digital tools, interactive learning, and project-based education. Yan na po pumasok. And talagang emphasize na po talaga dyan ang intrinsic motivation. Pumasok na rin po ang critical thinking and creativity rather than just grades. And also sa intrinsic motivation po, naging priority na rin po alongside academics yung mental health and well-being po ng estudyante. Opo. So, mapapansin po natin, if we notice, traditional extrinsic focus education dominated until the late 1900s. Diba? But the shift to intrinsic motivation and student-centered learning became stronger from the 1980s onward, especially with modern technology and psychology influencing education. Po? Ngayon, next po is the shorter attention spans. So, kanina po, ano po, shift from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation po. Yung isang factor na nag-change in student motivation and behavior. Second one po is yung shorter attention spans. Nako po, danas po ngayon ang mga parents yan at ng mga teachers, yung shorter attention spans. Bakit po ngayon, ang mga estudyante, they have shorter attention spans. Ano po? It is because of social media and instant access to information. Kaya nga po ngayon, many students struggle with focus and deep learning. Ano po, this is why interactive and engaging teaching methods are more important than ever. Ano po, ah, hindi na po ngayon pwede yung extrinsic approach. Hindi na po yun pwede gamitin natin mga teachers. Kasi po, mga estudyante po ngayon, they really have a shorter attention span. So why are attention spans getting shorter? Instant gratification from social media and technology, multitasking culture, and information overload. Po kasi napakadami ng information. One search away, lalabas na po lahat ng information. Kaya nga po ngayon ang mga estudyante, they just copy-paste without understanding kung ano po yung kanilang sinesearch. No? Tinatamad na dahil nga po sa information overload. No po? Kaya shorter attention spans, napakarami na po ngayong mga nakakaabala sa ating mga students. The next po is more collaborative learning. So dito po, unlike sa traditional classrooms, na kung saan po yung mga where students learn individually before, ngayon po yung ating mga learners, they thrive in group work. Ano po? They thrive in discussions and interactive activities na that allow them to engage with their peers. Ano po? Dati po kasi sa traditional classrooms, learning was mostly an individual task. Di ba po? Students sat in rows, listened to the teacher, and worked on assignment alone. Ano po, dahil nga po wala pang gadget noon, walang mapagtatanungan na kaklase sa bahay, kundi lang kayo makikita-kita. Po, collaboration was very limited. Dahil nga po sa yung focus was on, tulad po ng sinabi ko kanina, the focus was on rote memorization and individual performance. And also, dahil nga po wala pang technology noon, teachers were the sole source of knowledge. Ano po, and students were encouraged to challenge ideas. Ano po, and napaka-rare po ng group work po at nabasa ko nga po na yung group work daw po, correct na lang po ko if I'm wrong, please po dun sa nabasa ko, group work was often discouraged due to strict classroom structures. Po, and ngayon po, syempre nag-iba na po. So, more collaborative learning na po tayo ngayon. Mas maganda na po yung collaborative learning ngayon because it improve critical thinking, uh, it improve social skills, higher engagement din po siya. Ibig sabihin, nakaka-enjoy siya. Lalo na kasi po yung mga interactive activities, it makes learning more enjoyable than just listening to a lecture. No, kaysa nakikinig lang si student sa lecture at puro si teacher lang nagsasalita, why not give interactive activities? Po? And also, collaborative learning po, we prepare them for real-world challenges. Kasi po, yung trabaho po ngayon, pag nag-apply ka ng trabaho, many careers require teamwork. So, collaboration in school helps students develop workplace skills. Ano po? Kaya nga po ngayon, collaborative learning na po talaga yung binibigyan nating mga activities sa ating po mga estudyante. Kaya nga po meron tayong mga group projects, ano ba, team pair share, online collaboration, po. Ewan ko lang po, peer teaching. Meron din pa kasi ako ina-apply ko po sa IELTS yun eh. Yung peer teaching. Kasi in alternative learning systems, all settings, collaborative learning is even more important since yung aming pong mga learners come from different backgrounds. So yung group discussions po, yung hands-on activities, tsaka yung pong mga peer mentoring, help them stay engaged and motivated para hindi sila masyadong po kasi pag peer teaching, students explain concepts to each other. Nagre-reinforce po yun ng understanding. Then next po is greater emphasis on mental health. Nako, unlike before, where academic success was the primary goal, today's education system also considers students' emotional well-being, leading to mindfulness practices. Yan, so SEL, yung pong social emotional learning, and supportive learning environments. So, sabi ko nga po kanina sa intrinsic motivation, meron na pong greater emphasis on mental health. Ano po, so, ano na po ngayon? Dati po kasi in the past, yung focus lang po ng schools was primarily on academic success with little attention to students' emotional and mental well-being. Ano po, yun po kasi yung traditional belief, ano po, that as long as students perform well in school, no, they get high grades, they complete their assignments and follow the rules, they were successful. Ano po, however, ano po, many students nowadays, ano po, struggle with stress. They are very prone to anxiety and pressure due to high expectations and lack of emotional support. Ano po, kaya ngayon po, ngayon po modern ages, napaka-importante po ng mental health na i-prioritize po natin. Kaya yun naman po, pina-prioritize po ng Department of Education po ngayon. Ano po? At yan po, it really matters in ALS po. Kasi po, for ALS learners, mental health is even more critical. Ano po? Kasi ulit-ulit ko po sinasabi, they come from challenging backgrounds, katulad po ng financial struggles, family responsibilities, or past school dropouts. So, yung pong pag-recognize and pag-support po sa kanilang emotional needs through compassionate teaching, flexible schedules, and encouragement helps them stay motivated and engaged in learning. Kasi po, kung hindi po ganon, hindi rin nila masasurvive ang buong school year. Kaya po makikita mo, December pa lang, hindi na pumapasok ang bata. Ano po? So, makita mo, 30 students po yung enrolled, 10 na lang ang matitira. Po. So, yan po yung mga factors ano po na that changes the motivation of students. Ngayon po, with the growing emphasis on mental health, schools are now exploring various ways to create a more supportive and engaging environment. And one of the biggest influences on modern education is technology. Um, While digital tools have opened new opportunities for personalized and interactive learning, they also come with challenges, katulad po ng distractions and over-reliance on gadgets. And this brings us to our next discussions, the effects of technology in learning. Pasensya na po, ilan po palubat na po yung laptop. Sasaksak lang po ako. So, effects of technology in learning. So, alam naman po natin that technology has transformed education in many ways. Po, na-influensya na nga din po yung teaching styles nating mga teachers, tsaka po yung learning preferences po natin eh. And may mga effect po yan sa atin. Number one po is the personalized learning. Yan. So yung mga personalized learning tulad po ng yung mga online platforms po natin. Na po, online platforms, sabi nga po, and AI-powered learning tools help students learn at their own pace, adapting lessons based on their needs. Yan. So, personalized learning, ano po yan? That is a approach. Ano po? Na kung saan po yung ating mga educational content, yung ating pong pacing and teaching methods are tailored to each student's individual needs strengths and learning styles. Hindi po katulad sa traditional classroom where students just follow the same lesson plan at the same speed. Uh, Yun po. They just follow the same lesson plan. They just follow the same curriculum. Ano po? Yung personalized learning po adapts to what a student already knows and what they still need to master. Yan. So, malaki pong naitutulong po yung even as teachers. Minsan nagre-rely po sa mga online platforms and AI-powered tools. Diyan po pumapasok si ChatGPT. Ano po? Yan, self-paced learning. Ano po? Tulad po ng pinagawa po ngayon ninyo, ma'am. Self-paced learning po ngayon since may activity po kayo. So, instead po na ma-force po kami to keep up with the interclass, students can move at their own speed. Po, kumbaga, spending more time on difficult topics while quickly advancing through concepts they already understand. However, yung po mga, however po, of course, challenges include the need for proper teacher guidance and also access to technology. Kasi po, hindi naman po lahat ng estudyante have equal access to devices or to the internet. Next po is easier access to information. Ayan, di po katulad dati, uh, where students just relied mainly on textbooks. Ano po, pupunta lang ng library, wala nang ibang source of information. Today, they can access unlimited resources through the internet. Ano po, making research and independent learning more efficient. Ano po? Ano po, so ayan, meron tayong instant searchability, ano po, online libraries and ebooks, multimedia learning, and real-time updates. Next po, ah, ano po kasi, balikan ko lang po yung dito. Dun sa easier. Yan, easier access to information. Madagdag ko lang po bago ko makalimutan. Dati po kasi students just rely heavily on textbooks. Ako po kasi nadatnan ko yon. Talagang nagre-rely lang po kami sa textbooks. Rely lang sa pag may assignment, punta ng library. Rely lang sa printed materials para makagather po ng information. Kaya nga kapag discussion, we need to listen very carefully at magsulat para magawa ang assignment. Kasi wala pa namang PowerPoint presentation noon. Ngayon, sinasendan ni teacher yung PowerPoint. So, noon po, yung research po, especially yung mga nagtitesis, na it was very time consuming because they need to browse multiple books, take handwritten notes, and sometimes they struggle with limited resources that might be outdated or unavailable. However, with the internet and digital technology, information is now more accessible. Information is now more up-to-date and diverse na rin po siya. So it makes now research and independent learning more efficient than ever. Yan. Tulad po na nabasa ko, nandiyan na nga po, instant searchability. Isang search mo lang, lalabas na. Isang search mo lang kay Google, lalabas na yung mga information. Students can instantly find answers instead of spending hours flipping through books. Then nandiyan na po yung online libraries and e-books. Makarami na po mga online libraries ngayon. Multimedia learning, di po katulad nga noon na kung saan ang mga estudyante po ay nagre-rely lang po sa heavy textbooks. Ngayon po, meron na tayong mapapanood. We can watch video explanations. Pag hindi naintindihan yung lesson, we can listen to podcast. So, ang ganda na po ngayon ng ating education. And also, real-time updates. Ayan. Dati po kasi, di ba, yung mga traditional textbooks natin, it take it take years to be revised. Kaya yung mga ibang libro po noon, outdated na eh. No? Kumbaga, ang tagal po ng time bago ma-revise. So, ibig Hindi po katulad ngayon where online resources are updated in real time. Ano po, ngayon po, may ensure na ng ating mga estudyante that they always have access to current and relevant information. Ano po? Then next po is the interactive and visual learning. Ayan po, so digital tools such as videos, simulations, and gamified learning help visual and kinesthetic learners understand complex topics more effectively. Ayan, no? So interactive and visual learning. No, dati po kasi, yeah, comparison na naman pa traditional learning. Huwag mo kasi dati, traditional learning methods po natin. Ano, di ba? It is it's primarily relied on heavy textbooks. Masyado pong relied sa lectures, handwritten exercises, sulat po ng sulat. Ano po, no, hindi ko naman po minemenos yung traditional approach po. Ano po, kasi talagang natuto po tayo magsulat natin. Kaya lang po, while these methods work for some students, many learners, especially po yung katulad ko po na visual learner, and yung mga learners po natin, kinesthetic learners, they struggle with understanding abstract or complex topics using text alone. Ngayon po, with the advancement of technology, yung pong interactive and visual learning tools uh, uh, have transformed education by making lessons more immersive, more engaging, and effective. Yan. Nandiyan na nga po yung mga videos and animations, no? Nandiyan na po yung mga gamified learning. Makikita po natin yung ating mga teachers ngayon. Meron po sila mga educational games, mga interactive quizzes, no? Na nakaka-engganyo po sa ating mga estudyante. No po? And napakarami po talagang benefits ng interactive and visual learning. Napakarami pong ah, mga benefits po niyan. Sabi nga po sa ating slide, ano po, benefits po niyan, it enhances comprehension, it caters to different learning styles, it increases engagement and retention, it bridges the gap for us learners. Kasi nga po engaging. Kaya lang nga po, meron po mga challenge and considerations po dyan. Kasi po, over ano naman po, yung tinatawag po nating overstimulation and distractions. Ano po, hindi po natin, we cannot deny the fact that that technology is engaging. Kaya lang po, too much stimulation, tulad po ng excessive animations, po pag tayo, lalo po pag gumagawa po tayo ng PowerPoint, can reduce focus and create distractions. Kasi po ako experience po yun, dati po pag gumagawa ako ng PowerPoint, gusto ko talaga, creative, napakadaming mga animations, napakadaming transitions. Kaya na po, napansin ko, hindi na po sila nakafocus dun sa nakasulat sa PowerPoint. Nakafocus na po sila doon sa animation and transition ng PowerPoint ko. Kaya tinanggal ko na po ngayon. Tulad nga po ngayon, wala na pong animation and transition. Po. Next naman po, challenges in focus and discipline. While technology enhances learning, social media distractions and over-reliance on gadgets can negatively impact critical thinking and deep focus. Po, so, sabi po yan sa nakakapento po, challenges in focus and discipline. Tulad po ng sinabi ko, talaga naman pong technology has made learning more accessible and engaging. Po, it has also introduced new challenges. Next naman po, challenges in focus and discipline. While technology enhances learning, social media distractions and over-reliance on gadgets can negatively impact critical thinking and deep focus. Yan po. So, gaya po ng sinabi ko, talaga naman, na po, while technology has made learning more accessible and engaging, it has also introduced new challenges. For particularly po, in terms of student focus and discipline. Ano po? Dahil nga po sa ano po, with the rise of social media, po, instant messaging, and lalo na po ng gaming, ano po, many students nowadays really struggle to maintain deep concentration and critical thinking skills. So napakarami po nating napakarami po mga epekto po niyan. So yun po, how technology affects focus and discipline. Number one, social media distractions. Yan po. Full ba yung mga social media platforms po natin? Full po nandiyan po yung Facebook, nandiyan po yung TikTok and Instagram, ano po, YouTube, ano po, yung pong mga platforms na yan, it constantly grabs students' attention with endless scrolling. O scroll lang slow, sige. O endless, kaya po tinawag ko siya endless scrolling. Talaga pong hindi naman matatapos talaga yung pag-scroll kung talagang hindi ka lang titigil, hindi naman po mauubos yan. O endless scrolling, notifications, and also viral trends. Po, isa nga pong example niyan, halimbawa po, yung pong isa pong estudyante na nag-aaral. For example, that student is studying online. No? So that student studying online um, might switch tabs to check their notifications. Gumagawa ng assignment. Facebook muna ako. O, may interrupt po tuloy na yun siya. It leads now to frequent interruptions and loss of focus. Facebook muna, tamad muna na kasi scroll na muna ako ng 10 minutes. Scroll nga muna ako sa TikTok saglit. Makita mo, hindi na niya nagawa yung assignment. Ano po? Next, shorter attention span. So yan, naulit na naman po. Dahil nga po sa uh, because of quick, because of quick bite-sized content. Ano po, ano po yung bite-sized content? Yun po yung mga, ano, yung napapanood po natin sa TikTok, 15 second. O, di ba, yung mga TikTok po, meron siyang 15-second video or memes. O, dahil lang po dun sa 15-second TikTok videos na po na yon, students become accustomed to fast information consumption. Kaya nga po ang nangyari po ngayon, nahihirapan po sila yung pong kanilang deep reading, yung kanilang pong solving skills, and it makes more difficult. Po, halimbawa po, yung pong isang estudyante, nag-struggle po siya na mag-focus sa mga long-form articles, sa pagbabasa ng mga long-form articles, sa pag-intindi po ng mga critical essays o pagbabasa at sa mga complex math problems po because students nowadays are used to quick summarize content. Po. The next po, over-reliance on gadgets and in AI. Ano po? Yan. Instead po na ma-develop yung kanilang solving and analytical skills. Yung po mga estudyante ngayon, they rely on Google. They rely on ChatGPT or calculators para makahanap po ng instant answers without fully understanding the concepts. Kita mo? Yan. Copy-paste. Paggawa. O, search make a research about the three classification of matter. Halimbawa, kita mo, ayan. Three classification of matter, instant answer, labas, copy paste. Na hindi man lang binabasa. So, yan po yung mga ano ngayon. Nagiging problema. Then next, multitasking reduces learning quality. Yan. So, yung pong mga estudyante po natin, so, multitask po sila ngayon. So, paramihan po sa mga estudyante ngayon, they watch videos, they chat with friends, Habang po nanonood habang nanonood ng video, nakikipag-chat po sila sa kanilang mga kaibigan. And at the same time, nakikinig pa ng music habang nag-aaral. Which leads them to divided attention and reduced comprehension. Ano po? Di ba po? Makita mo, yung isang estudyante, gumagawa ng assignment, gumagawa ng homework habang nanonood ng Netflix. No? Yes, matatapos niya yung kanyang task, but I think minimal understanding of the lesson. Kasi pinagsasabay niya multitasking. So, minimal lang yung understanding niya doon sa ginagawa ng assignment. Kasi gumagawa siya ng assignment habang nanonood po ng Netflix. So, yan po yung mga, mga challenges. Yan po yung mga challenges na nararanasan po natin. How technology has transformed information access. And yan po yung mga epekto ng technology sa pag-aaral po ng mga bata. Ngayon po, nakita na po natin, no? While technology and modern learning tools bring many benefits, they also pose challenges. Katulad nga po ng i-discuss natin na distractions, shorter attention spans, over-reliance on gadgets. Ngayon po, to address these issues and ensure effective learning, we teachers must continuously adapt kanila po their methods to align with new trends in education. Ano po? And now, this leads us to our final discussion, how teachers adjust to new trends. Kagaya nga po ng nabanggit po natin kanina, ah, yung learning behavior po ng mga estudyante nag-e-evolve. Okay? The learning behavior of our students evolve. So we teachers then must also adapt their learning philosophies and strategies to remain effective. And here's how po. Number one, using differentiated instruction. And teachers now apply multiple teaching approaches, visual, auditory, or kinesthetic to cater to different learning styles. Ano po? Kagaya po ng sinabi natin kanina, as student learning behaviors evolve, ano po, teachers must adapt by moving away yung po tinatawag po natin, moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach. Ano po? Kasi na po natin yun, yung one-size-fits-all approach. And we need now to embrace differentiated instruction to meet diverse learning needs. Ano po? Ito pong shift po na ito is especially crucial in today's classrooms where students have varying abilities, different backgrounds, and learning styles due to factors din po, katulad po ng technology, mental health awareness, and alternative education models katulad po sa ALS. Kaya we need to adapt this learning method po. Kailangan po natin gumamit ng differentiated instruction to meet the needs of our learners. Yan next po, integrating technology. Yan. From PowerPoint, educational applications, and virtual simulations to using AI po in lesson planning. So ngayon po, tayo po mga teachers, we now blend traditional and modern teaching strategies. Kagaya nga po na sinabi ko kanina that education is constantly evolving. Kaya po tayo mga teachers, we must blend traditional teaching methods with modern technological tools to keep students engaged and to improve learning outcomes. Ano po? Yung po kasing pag-integrate ng technology, it allows us educators to enhance our lesson delivery. Ano po? To cater to different learning styles and to make education more accessible. Especially po in settings katulad po sa ALS where resources may be limited. Ano po? Kaya nga po ngayon, Dahil po, pati yung mga matatandang teachers, nag-a-adjust po, talagang pinag-aaralan po nila how to use the modern technologies kasi we cannot rely anymore to traditional fully. Though we can still use it, mix nga lang dapat. Po. The next, providing inter, in- providing growth-oriented activities. Po. Teachers incorporate activities that challenge students to think critically, collaborate, and persist, such as project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, and problem-solving tasks. Ito na i-discuss ko na po kanina. Then, lastly po is prioritizing student-centered learning. Yan. Rather than the traditional teacher-centered method, na po, uh, modern classrooms empower students to take an active role in their learning through problem solving, discussions, and real-world application. So, ayan po, ano po, student-centered learning na po tayo ngayon. Dati kasi in the past, classroom were mostly teacher-centered, di ba po? Ibig sabihin po, the teacher was the main source of knowledge, and students were just passive listeners. Today, education has shifted towards a student-centered learning approach. Sabihin po, learners are actively involved in their learning process. Ito po kasi, hindi na po kasi pwedeng teacher-centered eh. Kailangan po student-centered learning na po tayo ngayon because this method allows now our students to develop critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills. Po, napakalaki po ng ginagampanan po ng student-centered approach po para matuto po ngayon ang mga bata. Then nga po, we have key aspects of student-centered learning. Number one is the active participation over passive listening. Kakasabi ko lang po, instead of just listening to lectures and listening to the teacher per se, no po, instead of also just memorizing facts, kasi nga po noon, ang focus sa memorizing. Ngayon po, students can engage in activities. Students can engage in discussions. Students can engage in hands-on learning, katulad po sa ALSDEN, that allow them to apply their knowledge in real-world situations. So, hindi na po passive learning and active participation na po ngayon. Then next po, inquiry-based learning. Okay, hindi po katulad dati na the students just follow instructions without questioning. Ano po? Ngayon po, teachers encourage students to ask questions. Po, in-encourage na po natin sila ngayon magtanong po sa teacher, sa atin. Po, in-encourage na din po natin sila to explore topics and to discover answers on their own rather than just providing direct explanations. Kaya nga po kapag, sige nga, paano mo nakuha yung sagot na ganito? Or paano mo nakuha yung ganitong sagot? Diba? Yung po kasing ganong method, it develops curiosity, it develops independence, and it develops critical thinking skills. Well, the next, problem solving and real-world applications. Ayan. So, yung ating po mga lessons ngayon, ano po, they are designed to be more practical and relevant to students' lives. Po, halimbawa nga po, sa math. Ano po, ngayon po, hindi na lang po tayo basta-basta nagsusolve sa math. Po, hindi na lang po tayo basta-basta nagsusolve sa math gamit ang libro. Ngayon po, we also apply real-world applications katulad po ng budgeting. Meron na din po tayong business planning. Sa ALIS po, meron din, ina-apply din po namin yung engineering projects. Po. Then next, collaborative learning. Yan, na-discuss ko na din po kanina. Yung mga group work, yung mga peer discussions po, yung mga project-based activities that allows students to learn from one another. That allows them to develop communication skills na magagamit po nila kapag po sila ay nag-apply sa trabaho and to build teamwork. Then next po, choice and flexibility in learning. Ayan, di ba po, yung mga modern classrooms po natin ngayon, it provides students with various ways to learn, katulad po ng mga personalized learning paths, mga flexible assignments po, and different forms of assessments. Ayan. Then next po, lastly, is the role of the teacher as a facilitator. Ayan. Instead of just simply giving instructions, we teachers now act as mentors and guides also, where we help our students to explore concepts, ask meaningful questions, and develop a deeper understanding of the subject matter. So by prioritizing student-centered learning po, we teachers empower students to take charge of their education po at nade-develop din po yung kanilang independence and it also build essential life skills for their future. Also, the relationship between teaching philosophy and learning styles is constantly evolving kasi po yung students' motivation, yung pong technology and educational trends continue to change as well. So as educators, it is essential to adapt to these changes while maintaining a strong teaching philosophy that supports students' growth and engagement. So that ends my discussion po. Thank you for listening.